God's look stacked up against you, and it seems there's no way out. I know the issue seems unchangeable, and that there's no reason to shout, but the impossible is God's chance to work a miracle, a miracle. So just know it ain't over until God says it's over. It ain't over until God says it's done. No, 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 no. It ain't over until God says it's over. Keep fighting until your victory is won. He never said it would be easy. Not always gonna be easy, but you're a winner. But you're a winner in the end. Jesus defeated all your enemies way before the fight began. Before the fight began. But the impossible is God's opportunity to show up and work a miracle. A miracle. So just know it over until God says it ain't over until God says it's done. Oh, it ain't over until God says. Keep fighting till your victory. Oh, when people say you can't, remember when you don't know what you're gonna do, please remember He will free you from your sin and give you peace within. So you better hold your head up high. You're gonna win. Yes, you're gonna win. 'Cause it ain't over until God says it's over. It ain't over until God says it's finished. He says it means it ain't over until God says it's over. Keep fighting, and you better keep praying. Keep fasting. It ain't over. No. Keep pressing, progressing. Keep moving. It ain't over. Oh, keep reading, interceding. Keep believing. Keep believing. It ain't over. No, no. Keep trusting. You better keep on trying. Keep surveying.
Good morning, Breakfast Club. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. If y'all don't know, that is Maureen Brown Clark. It ain't over. I decided to do something a little bit different this morning and just let that song speak to you. I pray that somebody is encouraged already this morning and just knows that it ain't over until God says it's over. And if you need to go back and listen to that song, because she got some instructions in there and she telling you what to do to continue to press forward, to continue to stretch yourself, to continue to put yourself in a position for God to do what God does. So a big good morning to everybody that's watching live, to everybody that's going to watch the replay, as always, whether you're going to watch it later on today or whether you're going to watch it 15 years from now. Welcome to the Breakfast Club. Let me say some good mornings real quick to my Reset Coaching Academy peeps. My brother, Damon Lyles, good morning to you. Shantae Moore, good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Good morning to you. Kiera, I see you. Good morning. Demetrius Varner, the traveling man. He is a member of our group, man. I'm going to ask y'all this morning, make sure that you always praying for one another, because we have a lot of people in this group that do a lot of different things. And so I just believe, in community and our opportunity, whether you know them personally or not, man, just say a prayer, hey, everybody in the Reset Coaching Academy, God, I pray that you keep watch over them, Lord, that you protect them going out and coming in. And Demetrius does a lot of traveling, a lot of flying and different things like that for work. And so, brother, we praying for you, man. Stay safe out there and definitely stay cool if you still in San Antonio, Texas, like you were last week. Hey, bro, hey, I understand, man. Been there, bro. Been there. Miss Sharina, a big God bless you. Good morning. It is good to see you this morning. Man, let me tell y'all something. I'm full, man. I'm excited. I was up a long time last night, way past my bedtime, because y'all know when you start getting 5-0, in your age, you got to get that 8 hours. Dr. Lyles, good morning to you. When you start getting that 5-0 in your age, hey, that 8 hours become crucial. I remember, man, when I was a lot younger, I used to tell folks and say stuff like, I get about 4 or 5 hours. I'm good. Yeah, nah, that ain't the case no more. I need my 8. Give me my 8. Give me my 8. Give me my 8. But, man, let me tell you something. Putting this together this morning that we're going to talk about, look, man, this thing grabbed hold of me last night and spoke to me, and I just had to just sit with it. That's one of the reasons, that I came on this morning, and I might keep that format. I kind of like that. I won't come on, being all loud and boisterous, right off the bat, but that song, man, it's got some words in there. Don't really know why that one, was really on me, but it came through in the playlist this morning. I was like, yep, that's the one. So we're going to listen to Maureen Brown Clark this morning. It ain't over. So let's dig in, y'all. Let's go to work. Matthew chapter 5. I'm going to read from the New Living Translation. Matthew chapter 5. I'm going to read verses 13 through 16. Matthew chapter 5, verses 13 through 16. Man, we have been in our series, Stop Quitting, and we have been pulling the cover off some of the common excuses or common barriers that we face that cause us sometimes, y'all, to give up, that cause us to stop, that cause us to not continue to press. Dr. Davidson, good morning to you. That cause us to continue to not press in, right? Not press in. I'm saying a whole lot this morning because I'm hearing something. Okay, thank you, Lord. All right, so let's do this, y'all. Matthew chapter 5, verse 13 through 16, New Living Translation. Let's get it. You are the salt of the earth. So in case you didn't already know that, if you ever wondering what my purpose is, God, what did you put me here for? We about to learn something this morning. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? Let me say that again. But if salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? How shall the earth be seasoned? I don't know about y'all, but sometimes you get that meal, and when you just put just a little bit of salt on it, man, it makes it so much better, right? But how can that meal be better if we ain't with? Okay, we'll get there in a minute. How shall it be seasoned? Is it then good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men? You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do they light a lamp, put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to the whole house, to all who are in the house. Everybody. Let your light so shine before men that they, watch this, may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. I want to pull up on verse 16. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Your Father in heaven. So I want to tag a title to this morning, because we've been talking about different things that cause us to quit. And I just want to come and admonish and challenge everybody this morning to stop quitting. You are going to overcome. So for our title, one of the things that I know, because a few weeks ago we talked about failure, but God has impressed upon me that we also got to talk about success. So this morning we just going to talk about overcoming success. We're going to talk about overcoming success and how to overcome the fear of success specifically. So for your title, put in overcoming the fear of success. I know that sounds strange. I know that you are probably thinking, man, who in their right mind would be afraid of succeeding? Who in all of their education and in all of their knowing the Lord and in all of their trials and tribulations and experiences and everything that they've gone through in life and everything that they've endured and all the perseverance, who in the world would be afraid to succeed? That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked, because everybody, whether we want to admit it or not, just like we have a fear of failing, oftentimes we have a fear of succeeding. And so we have to then, just like we overcome failure, we have to also work to overcome success. Because when we think about it, we all don't set out to do anything and not be successful. But we often don't count the cost and we don't ask ourselves the question, but what happens when it works? What happens when it works? This text tells us that we are salt and we are light. So you have a purpose. We add value to every space and every environment that we are put into. That's what salt does. That's what light does, right? It adds value to every single place that is put, right? And so because of that, we have to consider something as we navigate our way through our goals and our aspirations and our dreams and the things that God has put on our heart to do. We have to always ask ourselves the question, but when it works, then what? But what if it works? So when I hit the mark, what then? When I reach the goal, what then? When I achieve what it is that I set out to achieve, what then? What then? As I was sitting here last night, I realized that, hey, just as much as we fear failing, y'all, we also fear succeeding. And what God said to me was, he said, well, the reason is because success has side effects. I said, hold on, wait a minute. What do you mean side effects? He said, yeah, side effects, just like the medications that we take. A lot of them have side effects, right? They have side effects. They have things that are not intentional, they are unintended, but they have things that by taking this, it might cause that. I hope y'all hear what I'm saying this morning. By taking this, it might cause that. Not that it's gonna happen, but it might cause this. That's what a side effect is. Many of us go on health journeys and we endeavor to eat better, and we endeavor to exercise more, we endeavor to sleep more and stop indulging so much. But there is a side effect. And the side effect of making those type of lifestyle health changes is that you are going to lose weight. You are going to have more energy. You are going to sleep better. Those are all side effects. Now, those are things that we intend to happen. But success is one of those things, as we got kind of caught up in the fact that we made it, in the fact that we hit the mark, we missed that there are some side effects to success. I want to talk about them a little bit before I tell you these are the 3 things that you need to do to begin to try to overcome this fear of success. The first thing is, I got to tell you before I go into them, is that I read that text because I want you to know up front, you don't have a reason to be afraid to succeed because you were created for it. Let me say that again. You don't have a reason to be afraid to succeed because you've been created for it. There's a mandate on each and every last one of us. There's a people, there's a place, there's a thing that God desires for us to be and align with. And when we get to that place, when we find that assignment, that's when we're going to have the most joy. That's where we're going to find the most peace. That's where we're going to find the most connection to God that we ever going to find in our life when we operate in our divine calling, in our divine purpose. We'll get there in a minute. But what are some of the side effects to success? Well, one of the number one side effects to success, or the number one side effect to success, in my estimate, is this thing that we call change. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus said the only constant in life is change. I'm glad you asked because I know you're thinking that change. Well, what you mean change? Okay, so the second E in reset is all about embracing change. And I often teach people that it is not that we are afraid of change all the time. Most times we are afraid of being changed. We are afraid of what the change is going to do to us. If we are afraid that if we make this adjustment, if we pivot in this direction, if we stop doing this, then there are some things that we're going to have to give up. There are some things that we're going to have to start doing different. There are some things that we can't never go back to. And so now change becomes a huge stumbling block for a whole lot of people. But but change is one of the side effects of success. Let me prove it to you. When you hit the mark, the first thing that you might have to change is your habits. Let me tell you something. In order for you to be successful and hit any goal that you are trying to do, it often requires you to do something different, to institute or bring into play a new pattern of behavior. That's all a habit is. It is a pattern of behavior. So I got to ask you, when you going through this process of starting something new, whether it's starting a degree program, or maybe you starting a new job, or maybe you're starting a new health regimen, whatever the case might be, when you start it, I need you to know that one of the side effects of you doing that is that change will be required. Change is a bill that is due when it comes to success, and all of us have to pay it. Why? Because it causes us, success will cause you to have to change your habits. And if you want to remain successful, it is one thing to get there, it's another thing to stay there. Let me say that again, because I don't want y'all to miss that. It's one thing to get there, it's a whole nother thing to stay there. Oh, I feel y'all kicking. It's one thing to get there, it's a whole nother thing to stay there. And once you're there and you're remaining there, is going to be because you have created the underlying habits to help keep you there. Change. If you in the chat, somebody type change is a side effect. Change is a side effect. Change is a side effect of success. Another side effect of success, or in particular about change, or kind of a sub side effect, is that we have to often change our circles. We have to often change our circles. So we fear success because we know there is going to be some shifting in our circle that's going to have to take place. If we want to, again, it's one thing to get there, it's another thing to stay there. If we want to be able to not only hit the mark, but remain there and keep going higher and higher and higher, it will cause or require a shift in our circle. Let me tell y'all something. There are some friends that you had when you were younger, when you were a little kid, that you probably ran around the neighborhood with, and y'all played outside, and y'all did all of that stuff. But at some point, maybe maturity, or you saw them going down a different path or a different direction, then maybe all of a sudden y'all were not as close anymore. That is a shift in your circle. That's what it looks like. Y'all do realize that continues to happen as adults. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody getting on Facebook or getting on social media on December 31st talking about I'm purging my friends list. That is not changing your circle. That is not what I'm talking about. I said what I said. That is not what I'm talking about. I said what I said. Look here, I said what I said. It is not getting on social media on December 31st and you announcing to the whole world that you deleting people, or you blocking people, or you doing something like that. That is not what a circle shift looks like. I ain't got the time. That is not what a circle shift looks like, and you need to stop that. Cut it out. That ain't even necessary, man. If you're going to block them, just block them. If you're going to unfriend them, then unfriend them if that's what you're going to do. They probably ain't going to know anyway, or they probably is somebody that's just looking to see what they can see. They ain't really interested in engaging. They ain't really interested in what you got going on like that. The Bible says that we ought to not think more highly of ourselves than we should, but I ain't got the time. But y'all hear what I'm saying? So success will often require that we change our circles, or change the dynamics of our circle, our support system. Let me put it like that. Our support system, the people that are undergirding us, the people that'll lift us up, the people that'll push us forward, the people that'll challenge us, the people that'll get in our face and tell us you dead wrong. Them people, the people that'll get in our face and tell us, yeah, you dead wrong. You need to do that better. You can do that different. You didn't say that right. That's what a good support circle is. That's what it is. The Bible says in Proverbs 27:17, come here, iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. And so when we look at it, change becomes a very interesting dynamic in success. And so one of the side effects of success is that we have to deal with this thing called change. Change also requires a shifting in priorities. When we are successful or when we desire to be successful, it means that there are things now that are going to have to be priority that were not priority before. But that's a side effect of wanting to be successful. So if you want to be successful in any area of your life, spiritually, physically, emotionally, and family, and finance, and your health, and your career, whatever it is, y'all, it takes a proper alignment of priorities. You got to make the main things, and you have to make sure that they remain the main things. None of this being willy-nilly, none of this being helter-skelter, none of this being all over the place and doing any and everything. None of that. You got to bring some focus, some dedication. You got to bring some discipline. Oh, I know y'all don't like that word. You got to bring some discipline to what it is that you're doing, whatever area it is that you operating in at that point. You got to bring those things because your priorities are going to have to shift. And that's one of the reasons that people fear success, because they ain't ready to shift them priorities. They ain't ready to change them habits. They ain't ready to change them behavior. They ain't ready to change that circle quite yet. They ain't ready. And so it becomes a place of angst and anxiousness because simply they are not ready to change. The second side effect of success that I want to tell you about is success lets us know just how imperfect we are and how we need help. I know y'all believe in this thing in 2023 about self-made people, but the devil is a lie. No man is an island. Nobody can do it by itself. You can find all kinds of examples throughout the Bible. Even Jesus, when he came here, he commissioned and he deployed and he trained disciples. Then they will become known as apostles. And he had these people with him that he spent time with and he poured into. And then he commissioned them and said, go into all the world and make disciples, preach the gospel, do all of this stuff. Y'all fan out. Go do what it is that I've taught you to do. Why? Because he knew that he was not going to be here long enough to see it all through, because he had a very specific purpose for a very specific time. He was going to do that, and then he was going to plant them seeds. And once them seeds was planted, then it would continue to grow. It will continue to spread. And now look around. It's a church on every corner preaching Jesus, hopefully, hopefully, right? And so when we think about it, y'all, we got to remember that we can't do it by ourselves. But more importantly, we have to realize that we are not perfect. And success or striving after success will make you realize I ain't perfect. I don't have it all figured out. And that's okay. Because that's a good place and a good word called humility that we all need in everything that we do, especially if you're a leader. We all need that. We all need that. We all need that evaluation. We all need that self-check. We all need that look in the mirror. And so sometimes people, they fear being successful and they become stagnant and they're frozen in place, because they start to think, but I ain't got it all together. I don't have it all figured out. I need help, but my pride is in the way and I don't want to ask for help. The third thing that I would tell you that is a known side effect of success is that success will force you to stop running. There ain't a person on the planet ever that lived in life that has accomplished anything and been able to run at the same time. Yes, I'm talking to all the runners out there. And I ain't talking about running on a track. I ain't talking about running on rails to trail. I ain't talking about running at Lake Bottom. I ain't talking about running the stairs at Columbus High School. I'm talking about running. I'm talking about running from what it is that God has for you to do. I'm talking about running from purpose. I'm talking about your run. Yes, Lord. I'm talking about running from purpose. I'm talking about those people that's running from destiny, and you running from your calling, and you running from it, and you running from it. You don't want it. You saying, Lord, not me. I ain't the one. But then then, just a few days ago, you said, Lord, send me, I'll go. But then when he called, he was like, wait a minute, Lord, I think you had the wrong number. You got the wrong purpose. And that inadequacy, that imperfection started to well up on the inside of you. And it caused you to take off and strike out running. God said, go left. You went right. Come here, Jonah. Yeah. Y'all probably heard my man, Jonah. He got swallowed up in the belly of a fish because God told him, go down there to Nineveh. This is what I want you to tell them folks. And Jonah was like, man, I ain't going down there fooling them folks. I'm about to go. And he tried it, but it didn't work out. Go back and read it. It's in the Bible. They didn't tear it out. I promise you. And we get in this place, y'all, where honestly, all jokes aside, sometimes we fear success because success means we got to stop running. We got to start running. Oh, I want to do this. I got the plan together. God had already showed it to me. I got the download. All of that. Oh, we say all that good stuff. But then we sit back and in the midnight hour, we start to think, wait a minute. That means I got to stop running. That means I got to stop running. That means I got to own it. When you stop running, you got to take ownership. That's really what I'm trying to tell you. It requires you to take ownership. And probably the last side effect of success is that success means you have to leave behind and you have to let go. Come here, Abraham and Lot. Y'all help me out for here for just a minute. I want y'all to go back and I want y'all to read something in Genesis chapter 13. I ain't gonna read it because we ain't got the time. But Abraham and Lot, if you've never read this story, I need y'all to go back and y'all need to study this thing because Abraham had gotten his call from God, go to a place that I'm going to show you. Okay. That's familiar to us. Right. And he told him, leave your country, leave your kinsmen, but he messed around and he took Lot with him. I ain't got the time. Sometimes you gotta, okay, leave Lot where you at. Anywho, and he takes Lot with him and he takes all these other folks. So he ain't really followed the instructions. Okay, but we'll get there. And they had gotten to a place, and in that text in Genesis 13, it said that they both were prosperous. They both were prosperous. Watch this. They both were prosperous. I need y'all to know, don't ever think that you got to try to edge somebody else out to be successful. Y'all, it's enough room for everybody to win. Man, the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. The earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. It's plenty of space for all of us, for all of our callings, for all of our gifting. It's plenty of room. That's why God put it in you in the first place. It don't mean that you're going to have to try to push somebody else out or force somebody else out or edge somebody else out. I threw that in for free. So Abraham and Lot, the text says that they both were prosperous, but a beef broke out between their herdsmen, right? So between their herdsmen, so they peoples, right? So Abraham folks and Lot folks, a beef broke out over land because of their people, right? And so Abraham said, Lot, I tell you what, my friend, this is what I want you to do. You choose whatever area you want, and then whatever area you choose, I'm going to go the opposite way, right? I'm paraphrasing. I'm going to go the opposite way. So Lot chose the Jordan Valley. So it was big, it was spacious, it was wide open, and he took all of his herd, he took all his people, and he settled down in there. And so Abram, watch this. Oh, I'm gonna get there in a minute because I've been saying Abraham, but Abram, then turn around, and he chose Canaan. He chose Canaan, and when he chose Canaan, that's when God came to him and said, "Look, as far as you can see, I'm gonna give it to you, and your descendants are gonna be more than you could ever imagine. It's going to be more than you can count. It's going to be more than you can count. It's going to be more than you can count." Watch this. About this time, when Abraham got this calling to go into this place that God was going to show him, Abraham was 75 years old, right? Or Abram. He was not Abraham yet. I don't want you to miss that. He was not Abraham yet. He didn't become Abraham until 24 years later. The initial call, he was 75. Not until he was 99 years old did God make the covenant with Abraham. And he changed his name from Abram to Abraham. My point is when we are going through these cycles and these seasons where we are endeavoring to be successful, one of the things that we often fear, hold on, drop my notes here. One of the things that we often fear is leaving things, people, places behind and letting go. But if Abram would have never made that shift, and as hard as it was, if he wouldn't have never allowed himself to separate from Lot, then God, who already knew the end from the beginning and had something else for him, something additional to the initial call, because the initial call was just go to a place that I'm gonna show you. And then it ended up 24 years later, he said, I'm gonna make you the father of many nations. Success will require you to leave behind and let go. Abram was already prosperous. See, I keep doing it. I read it the wrong way all this time. I read it the wrong way. And it clearly says Abram. And then when I started to look at it, I'm like, whoa, wait, that didn't happen until almost 25 years later. So it required him to let something go. And that's one of the reasons, y'all, that we hold on, because we ain't ready to let go of what's familiar, of what's right now. But I just need y'all to know this morning, if you're going to be successful, if you're going to win, then there's going to be some things that you're going to have to let go. I get the image in my head of the little girl and Jesus standing there, and she has like the little teddy bear in her hand, and Jesus has his hand out, and he wants her to give him the teddy bear, and then the other hand's behind his back, and he's got like a bigger teddy bear. That's what it looks like. So there might be some things that he's asking to let go. So what do we do? How do we overcome this fear of success? I'm glad you asked. So number one is we have to accept that our doing is not just about us. If we go back to the text, then we realize that letting our light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. So the first way that we can overcome this fear of success is to accept the fact that our doing is not just about us. You and me have been called to be salt and light, to add flavor to environments, to bring light to environments, to lives, to enrich things, to make things better. Y'all, it's a part of our DNA. It is who we are. It's what God put us here for. I tell y'all all the time, we ain't just here to take up space. We're not just here to take up space. That is not what we're here for. And so because that, we have to, once we get to a place and a mindset where we accept the fact it's not just about me. It's not just about me. That's when you're going to be able to attack that fear. When you accept, oh, this is bigger than me. I got to keep going because it's bigger than me. I got to write this book because it's bigger than me. I got to start this business because it's bigger than me. Because there's people that need jobs. There's people that have a gift and have a talent that needs to be cultivated, that needs to be unearthed. That's the way we have to start thinking. You got to start thinking it's bigger than you. So the first thing is we have to accept that our doing is not just for us. It is not just about us. And if we think that, then we have a view that is way too narrow, because God is way bigger than that. The second thing is we have to align our doing with our divine purpose. We have to align our doing with our divine purpose. Proverbs 10:22 says that the blessing of the Lord maketh rich, and it adds no sorrow to it. I told y'all earlier, when we begin to align ourselves with the purpose that God has for us, that's where we're going to experience the most peace. That's where we're going to experience the most joy. That's where we're going to experience our talents and our skills and our gifting, our clarity, our vision is going to begin to flourish. Why? Because we have made God's purpose the main thing. We made his purpose the main thing. We put him at the forefront. And in our text in 16, and that they would glorify our Father in heaven. How can we be those that bring glory to God if we ain't glorifying him, if our doing is all about us? And if it's not all about us, then what should it be about? His purpose. So we have to align ourselves with that. We have to discover that. And in order to do that, we got to spend time. We got to have relationship. We got to allow him to guide. There's a lot of different steps, but the biggest thing is it's something that you do on purpose and with intent, where we're asking the question, God, what is it that you would have me do? Not, God, I want to do this and I want you to bless it. God, what is it that you would have me do? How would you have me to operate in this? Who would you have me to be a blessing to? So the first thing is accept that our doing ain't just about us. The second thing is we have to align our doing with our divine purpose. And the third thing is that we got to always remember that it does not yet appear what we shall be. 1 John 3:2 says, Beloved, now we are sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when we shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. That it does not yet appear what we shall be. In that story of Abraham and Lot, even though Abram had a call from God, the fullness of what God desired to do was not revealed to him until many, many, many years later. Him having a son, because him and Sarai, because Sarah's name hadn't even been changed yet. But that's neither here nor there. Thank you, God. The word that came to mind was processing. It was simply processing. It's like when you go online to order something or to pay a bill or something like that, and you click submit and you click that button and that screen comes up and it says processing. That means there's some things going on in the background that you can't see, but you know they're going on because you know that it's processing. So things are being put into alignment. Things are being placed into order so that your payment will go through. When I read this story of Abraham and Lot and that 24 years between the calling and the covenant, I realized that was a season of processing for Abram, who would become Abraham. If we're going to overcome this fear, y'all, we got to always remember that we all go through seasons of processing because it does not yet appear what we shall be. You may not have everything that you need now, but God knows the end from the beginning. And if he called you to it, if he called you to do it, he is now the one that has to provide the way and the means for it to happen. It does not yet appear what we shall be. There's some growing that needs to take place in us, what we shall be. There's some character development that needs to take place, what we shall be. There's some mindsets that need to change, what we shall be. There's some behaviors that need to change, what we shall be. Processing. processing. For Abraham, it was 24 years processing. So we can't rush the process. But what we have to do is remember who the God of the process is. And when we take those three things all together, those three things, I believe, can help you if you're struggling and if you're dealing with a fear of success. If you've identified, man, you know what? I ain't really, worried about failing because I done failed before, but I'm really thinking about, oh man, how life is going to be different if I do this, if I succeed at this. What am I going to have to do? A lot of our young people, I believe, fear growing up sometimes because of these very things that we talked about this morning. And I know we're a little bit long, but I got to tell y'all this morning. I think a lot of y'all young people deal with this and they don't have the words to really articulate what it is, because success, or growing up in their case, also means that they got to change. It also means that their circles are going to change. It also means that behaviors are going to change. It also means that their priorities are going to change. It also means that they realize that they are not perfect and they don't know everything like they thought they did. That life is so much bigger and so much more complicated than what they initially thought. And now that they're faced with having to be out there and make it on their own, they're realizing and it can become fearful and cause them to be stagnant and not even want to try. But I even want to tell them this morning, if you got any of them close to you, don't quit. Don't quit. You're going to make it. You're going to make it. Because the Bible says that God never leaves us nor forsakes us. And that means you too. All right, y'all. That's the Breakfast Club. I hope y'all received this and I hope y'all got something out of it. I know it has been a blessing to me, so I pray it has been a blessing to you. So as always, y'all take care of yourself, take care of your family. Hey, if you here in our area, y'all already know what this heat is. It's 95, 96, 97, 98, 100 every day. Take care of yourself. Stay out this heat if you can help it. Drink plenty of water. And as always, y'all already know how we about to end the broadcast. Come on and say it with me. Y'all can't get strong unless you lift heavy stuff. Y'all be blessed. Be encouraged. See y'all next time.